What is up, YouTube? This is Ryan with Cola Warrior Gaming, coming at you with the first video that we're going to be producing for the Strategy Guide series. Now, for this video, I decided to start all the way back at the beginning, guys, kicking it old school, showing you guys how to 3-star a max Town Hall 9 with Gowipe. Yes, that's right, you heard me, guys. We are going to 3-star attempt. No, I'm totally kidding. Gowipe is totally a crap 2-star strategy. Never use it, guys. If you're a Town Hall 9 going up against another Town Hall 9, do not use Gowipe ever. This video tutorial is actually about Logo Wipe. Okay, now Logo Wipe, it shares many things in common with Gowipe. As a matter of fact, it pretty much just is a Gowipe, but with one very important thing added, and that would be what we call Backend loons. Now, this video is probably going to be best suited for, I guess, beginners, people who are just starting to get into the 3-star strategies. But it can also be for more advanced players who want to kind of explore maybe some attack strategies that they just haven't tried out yet. I mean, if you started getting into this stuff back in like January, February, you know, Gowipe at that point, or Logo Wipe, however you want to say it. I'm going to keep saying Logo Wipe. If you want to say it differently, you know what? Get your own channel. You know, if you guys started getting into this stuff back in maybe February, at that point, like I said, Logo Wipe had kind of fallen out of favor because, you know, a lot of people were starting to design their bases to minimize the risk of being 3-starred by the hybrid attack strategies like Logo Wipe and Logo Gowipe. But there are still plenty of bases that are weak to it. I see them almost every war, at least 2 or 3. And I see guys try to hog them or try to loon them or whatever, and I'm like, guys, just use a Logo Wipe. It's a very simple attack. It's a very easy attack. Yes, in my clan, we mostly do Goho and, some Laloon, some healer walks and that kind of thing, but occasionally we see Gowipe, we see Logo Wipe, usually just from me. And again, not to brag, guys, like, I don't consider myself the best attacker, so I think what I'm about to say speaks towards the efficacy of the attack more than my own abilities, but I do have a 100% success rate with Logo Wipe since starting with We Are Raiders. Just haven't failed an attack. Again, not because I'm the best attacker, but because against the right base guys, Logo Wipe is just overpowered. It's a great attack. I just don't know why more people aren't using it. Now, as with any attack strategy, guys, base selection is key. That's where you're either going to succeed or fail. Now, Logo Wipe is only appropriate against bases where all 4 air defenses are... Oh, excuse me. I need to... there we go. Sorry, guys. I'm a little bit new to this whole system. Yeah, so Logo Wipe is only appropriate against bases where you've got all 4 air defenses that are easily accessible by, a decent-sized push into the base there. So you can see that on this base, and this is a very common forum base that we see quite a bit of, we've got all 4 air defenses very neatly cored up here for you. And as a matter of fact, this base has a huge weakness in that it kind of creates a very natural funnel for you. You don't really have to do much. You don't have to work very hard at creating your funnel. So let's go ahead and just kind of discuss the stages of this attack. And really, guys, it just has 2 stages. If you know how to Gowipe, then you're really not that far off from knowing how to Golo Wipe. And as with any good attack, guys, you got to start off with a good funnel. Excuse me. And typically, I'm bringing 2 golems with a Golo Wipe. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've ever brought any more than that. I don't think I've brought any fewer than that. I just always bring 2 golems. And on this base, we're going to have Teslas that pop right here and right here. I really wish this big attack button wasn't right there. That's kind of annoying. But even if those Teslas weren't there, the golems would go straight to this air sweeper here, and that wouldn't be a huge problem because these buildings out here are out of range of the wizard towers, so any wizards that you put on these are going to be safe, at least from the wizard towers. So again, guys, as with any great attack, you need to start off with a great funnel, because P.E.K.K.A.'s kind of behave like a barbarian king. And even in a lot of top war clans, guys, I'm still seeing some kings go shopping in a lot of these attacks because of improper funnels being made. So the key to a good funnel, I think, is, of course, making sure, when you're scouting a base, making sure that your wizards are not going to be in range of any defenses that are not going to be targeting one of your golems. Okay, so, these 2 cannons would be a consideration, but if you put a wizard right here by these army camps, they're not going to be within range of these cannons, so that's not an issue. And, of course, anything closer in to the kind of the core of your funnel here is going to be covered by these golems that you're going to be sending in to begin with. Now, with most logo wipes, guys, you don't really want to bother with a lore. I mean, I guess if it's a really easy lore, that's fine. But with the vast majority of them that I've done and they've been successful, I'm not loring, because part of this attack involves keeping your entire the Gowipe portion of your attack healed and raged all the way up through the core here. And when you've got 7 or 8 wizards, a couple witches, and your queen under rage, they're going to take down a level 5 dragon in a couple seconds. It's just not going to be an issue. And if you've deployed your troops correctly, then you're not going to have an issue with the dragons or the loons targeting your higher value DPS troops. Okay, so again, we're starting off with a good funnel, starting in with the golems here and here on this base. Okay, and when I deploy my wizards, I always like to deploy them kind of on the outermost buildings going in. Okay, so starting off on these army camps and then going inwards, and the last wizards are going to be placed right here. And the reason for that should be fairly obvious. If you don't have to lose a wizard, guys, don't lose a wizard. If I were to do it the opposite way, if I were to start my wizard deployment, say, here and here, then these buildings would go down, okay, these buildings in the center of my funnel, and any wizards that I put on these buildings here are probably going to start going this way, right? And part of learning how to attack well is learning how to attack efficiently. And this just wouldn't be the most efficient use of my wizards. A lot of people kind of treat wizards like they're disposable, like you just don't really need to worry about them. They're only there to make your funnel, and that's it. Guys, I can't tell you how many times I have seen an attack saved by a wizard who just happened to make it through the funnel and maybe takes out the queen, after the king dies because maybe he got sent in too early and gets targeted by the CC troops. So don't treat your wizards like they're just disposable. Save every troop that you possibly can. So I like to deploy my first couple of wizards on the outermost buildings and then go in, because then that's going to kind of force your wizards further into your funnel. And then this is where they go. And they're helping out with, all of these defenses here. They're helping out with the clan castle troops. So anyway, like I said, starting off with that funnel. And once you've got these buildings here taken care of, once that's, once these buildings are cleared out here, I usually just kind of spam everything. Obviously, you don't want your king getting out in front, getting targeted by the CC troops. But usually what I do is start off with witches right here, kind of, right in the center. Because ideally, guys, you want those skeletons to get out in front of everything. When you are doing a no-lore attack, you either want the CC troops to aggro onto your skeletons because they're replaceable, or your golems. Obviously golems are not your first choice because they're not replaceable like skellies are. So skellies are absolutely the best troops that you want out in front of a no-lore attack. So with every good Gowipe, guys, I like to bring at least 2 witches. And that's mostly to help with CC troops, but witches are also great for helping to tank, and of course they just put a lot of damage out on the board. So once my funnel is created, I like to use witches. I like to deploy those first. And then those witches are followed up by my queen. And then just spamming everything else, guys. The P.E.K.K.A.s are going in, the king is going in, and any wizards that I might have been holding back to kind of help with the CC troops. Now, once the whole pack is kind of in this area here, you can see there's a lot of point defense. There's a lot of area of effect damage coming in at them, and the queen is going to start shooting it at some troops as well. So you probably want to drop a heal fairly early. You know, on most bases, guys, it's not a super long way to the core. I mean, 2 heal spells will get you all the way to the core at least. And you know, guys, where you rage, I'm gonna go ahead and say is kind of up to the base. Sometimes I've raged in the core to help just take out those air defenses really quick. Sometimes I've raged before that to help with the CC troops. If there's, you know, a dragon and a couple loons or something like that, a rage can be, you know, just really valuable in helping your troops deal with those CC troops really fast. So once your troops are getting close to the core, obviously you want to drop your jump here. And again, you know, you have 2 heals, one for kind of the first part where they're dealing with the CC troops, and then another heal. Always save a heal for the core, guys. Always save a heal for the core, because that's usually when your troops are going to be taking just the most damage, because you've got these, you know, firing at your troops in the core. Just so much point defense coming in, you know, obviously as well as everything that's in the core, like these expos. So once your stuff is in the core, guys, once your main pack of troops is in the core, you know, you could start preempting the air defenses going down if your timing is really good. But I've seen some people do that and end up losing some loons to maybe an air defense that is just a couple seconds from going down but isn't quite down yet. So just be careful with that. The timing, I'm not going to say is tricky, but it's definitely something that you want to kind of have a very good plan for. So when I did this base, I actually ended up sending in my loons maybe a little bit late. I probably could have started a little bit earlier than I did. But again, you just want to make sure that these air defenses are, if they're not down already, you want to make sure that they're at least taking hits from something before you start sending in your loons. Now, we're going to get to the second stage of the attack here, which is just sending in the loons, because we've made our funnel, okay? We have driven into the core, dealt with the CC troops, and obviously we've dealt with the queen. Those P.E.K.K.A.s under rage are going to one-shot pretty much any queen. And that's why I like P.E.K.K.A.s. I know there's a lot of hate on P.E.K.K.A.s, but they really get the job done. Once you get them in the core, you get them under a rage and a heal, they just, I mean, they vaporize that core. So once you get that core taken out, guys, start in with your loons. And you know, this is where a little bit of experience kind of comes in. I just know that if I put 2 loons on these archer towers, then I only need 1 for the wizard tower, just because the wizard tower is going to be targeting the 2 loons that are on our archer tower, and that gives my 1 loon a lot of extra time to just crap on these wizard towers. So for this attack, I'm not sure exactly how. I think I ended up bringing maybe 12 loons, or no, actually I think I brought 13 loons. So how many loons you bring really depends on how many point defenses you can get taken out that are capable of targeting air troops. So on this attack, I only get to take out 2 archer towers, and I knew that from a previous attack, guys, and this was a scouting attack by a Town Hall 8, I knew from a previous attack that there were Teslas here and here. So I've still got quite a bit of point defense to deal with, as long as these maxed out wizard towers. So I'm going to want to go a little bit heavier on loons with this base. So again, you know, if I had taken out like 4 archer towers and, you know, 3 wizard towers or something like that, you know, you might only need 8 loons or something like that, 10 loons. But I don't think I've ever brought any fewer than 8 loons. So anyway, once you start in with your loons, again, only target the point defenses that are capable of hitting your air troops, and that's pretty much it, guys. Like I said, it's a very simple attack. So we're going to go ahead and show you guys the replay and show you how we did it on this base. Let me exit out of this and find the right place in the video here. Yeah. All right, so we are going to go full screen. There we go. I know this is kind of a ghetto way of doing it, but I mean, you know, it works. All right, so we are coming in with the golems here. Again, I knew that those two Teslas were going to pop right beside the gold mine and the elixir storage, and that was great. That actually was probably a good thing. Starting in with the funnel. Oh, you know what? It's interesting. I did not put wizards on those army camps. I probably should have done that. In any case, you guys can see how I just kind of spam everything at the bottom. The king might have been a little bit early. The order on that might have been a little bit screwed up. But the nice thing about these attacks, guys, is that they're very forgiving. Logo wipe, you know, I've made mistakes with it before. Mistakes that, you know, on a Goho or a Laloon or something like that would have just been catastrophic. But with a logo wipe, guys, it's a very forgiving attack because the front part of it is just, you know, it's kind of spammy. Like I said, you absolutely have to make sure that your funnel is good. But besides that, it's just, you know, spamming everything to that core. Okay, so as you saw, I healed through the CC troops and then healed and raged in the core. And now we're just starting in with the loons because those air defenses are down. And you can see how quickly all that happened. And these loons are going to make very short work of these outer defenses here. And you know, you guys can just see how fast that all happened. So it's a very efficient attack, very just you know, kind of foolproof, guys. I mean, it's hard to screw up if you even know how to go wipe well, because deploying those back-end loons, I mean, you just deploy 2 on most point defenses. Like, you know, I was putting 2 on those Teslas and then 1 on the archer towers up top because I knew that the archer towers would be targeting the 2 that were on the Teslas first. But anyway, so it's over, guys. That's it. That is how you logo wipe, and you can see how many troops we still have up. I mean, we still have both P.E.K.K.A.s up. It looks like both witches, maybe. I don't know. Hard to say. But yeah, and I mean, that was on a max base with very low-level heroes. So let's go ahead and check out another base. Pause this. Go to the next video. You know, I think... yeah. So in this video, we're going to illustrate how you want to deal with air sweepers, guys, because air sweepers are going to possibly present problems for you. Because just because you take out the air defenses does not mean that your balloons are totally safe. I mean, you know, loons have quite a few hit points, but they're very slow. So if these air sweepers are working on your loons, being targeted by these archer towers here, then your loons are actually going to fail. They're not going to make it. So you do have to have a plan for dealing with air sweepers, and there are 2 things that you can do. You can deploy your troops, your loons, in such a way that one of them is just kind of sacrificed to the air sweeper. So, you know, you could maybe deploy one over here, you know, way over here, kind of at the extreme range of the air sweeper, and that air sweeper is going to turn to start, you know, hitting that loon. And because this loon is going to be out of range of the archer tower, and it's going to keep being blown back, it's actually very effectively distracting that air sweeper. And then I can send in my loons from up here and end up taking out this archer tower. And then those loons will path to this air sweeper, and problem solved. But we've got 2 air sweepers up here, so that's a little bit of a problem. So I actually ended up dealing with this by simply sending a minion just outside the range of this archer tower. And I think I sent it right here. But, you know, another thing you can do is use a haste spell to basically kind of cancel out the effect of that air sweeper, because a lot of times you won't need the poison because you're dealing with the CC troops under heal and a rage. So again, we're just coming in here exactly like we did before, creating a nice big funnel, And there's really not much to say about this attack that I didn't say in the other one, aside from, just how to deal with these air sweepers. So let's go ahead and watch this attack and see exactly how it was done. All right. So let me go full screen here. All right, so coming in straight again with the golems, no lore, and just making my funnel nice and wide. Now that one wizard on the right ends up taking fire from the archer tower. That was actually a mistake on my part. That was an oversight. I might have either miscalculated the range of the wizard, how close that wizard had to be to the building to start taking it out, or I could have just placed it wrong. But anyway, so like I said before, we're just spamming everything at the beginning, and in this attack, guys, I do not have my archer queen, and that's always a little bit of a danger. But the CC troops still went down very quickly to the wizards that were under the heel, and pretty much everything is still up at this point, keeping everything healed. That heal might have been a little bit early, and then I am raging into the core. Now, you can see that on this base, guys, the air defenses were in two different places, but that's okay, because as long as you can take out all the air defenses on the way to the core, then you're fine, obviously, for obvious reasons. So with a push as big as this, that you're going to get all of this taken out right here, So that wasn't really an issue. So that the air defenses don't necessarily have to be cored, but they do have to be all accessible either in the core or on your way to the core. So let's continue watching. All right, so everything is still under heal and rage, and I went ahead and sent in some loons on the side defenses here. Those two on the right end up getting taken out by air traps. I did not expect those to pop where they did, so that was kind of a bummer. But you can see up here, these minions are doing a really effective job at distracting the air sweepers. So you can see, I'm going to go ahead and start drawing here. This is basically the radius of that air sweeper. This is how much of the map it's able to affect. So it's fairly narrow. It's not getting all of this when it shoots its thing or whatever. So these minions were actually kind of experimental on my part. I didn't know exactly if they would be effective at distracting these air sweepers, but they really were. So let's go ahead and continue watching. Oh gosh, yeah, here we go. Oh, it looks like I had the same idea when I was filming this. Okay, so yeah, those air sweepers are pretty much taken out of the picture by those minions. Didn't even have to worry about them. And these loons, they just got the job done, guys. Again, you can see how fast it all goes down. We still have plenty of loons up to deal with the archer tower and the cannon that are still up. And we still have both witches up. Excuse me, we have all three witches up. On this attack, I brought 3 witches. And you guys can see how easily that base went down, even without a queen and a very low-level king. And of course, it wasn't the highest level base. It was not a leveled base. It was a very poor base design. But, it's still max Town Hall 8 with at least decent level walls. So again, just a very efficient attack, very effective. And if you're not using it, guys, just because it's an easy attack, just because it's a simple attack, doesn't mean it's not an effective attack. As a matter of fact, I would go ahead and say that the simplest attacks are almost always the most effective attacks, because there are fewer things that can go wrong with them. All that to say, some bases require, they just need, they call for complex attacks, especially these anti-3 bases. But there are some anti-3 bases, guys, that can be logo wiped. I would say very few, but they are out there. They exist. I've done it, once or twice on an actual anti-3 base. So this last video that I'm going to show you is, again, kind of illustrating what to do about these air sweepers, and it's also showing what to do if all of your air defenses are not in the core. So, like I said before, if not all the air defenses are in the core, but you can at least get to all of them on the way to the core, again, the base can absolutely be Gowipe. So on this base, all you need to do is come in with your main push right here. So I actually start off, I believe, sending in my first golem here, and then here, and starting my funnel down here. I kind of wish you could see it, but in any case, this is going to go pretty much just like the other two attacks. Really not much to say about it other than that for this attack I actually used a loon to distract this sweeper. Obviously this sweeper was going to get taken down by the Gowipe part of the attack, and that's usually going to be how it is, guys. Most of the time you're going to be able to get at least one of these air sweepers in your initial push into the core. So again, we are creating our funnel. We are driving straight into the core, keeping everything under heals and rages. And then just deploying these loons on the point defenses that are, you know, capable of taking out your air troops. Now on this particular base, and on quite a few, in fact, you don't want to necessarily clump up your loons, because these wizard towers here, especially max wizard towers, can present a threat to clumped up loons. So on this one, I didn't necessarily individually target, you know, these point defenses here. And of course, I would have to go through this cannon to get to this wizard tower, so that's why I ended up deploying some on the cannon here. So with this, I just kind of spread them out, knowing that 2 or 3 were going to target this this archer tower, knowing that 2 or 3 were going to target this cannon here, and then go on to the wizard tower. But that basically minimizes the damage that this wizard tower can do. So a lot of times you don't necessarily want to clump up your balloons. You kind of want to spread them out a little bit to make that wizard tower basically less effective than it otherwise would be. So on this base, again, what I did to distract this air sweeper was to put a loon right here, and then send in 2 loons right here. So basically this air sweeper would have been shooting at this loon, and again, that radius is going to be about like this, okay? It's not a full, you know, when you click on an air sweeper, it shows you its entire range, but when it actually fires off a shot, the wave, you know, the energy wave or whatever, isn't nearly that wide. So it only will cover pretty much this part of the base. So that allows me to sneak these loons in here and take out this archer tower. Now, as it happened in this attack, this air sweeper ended up going down to the Gowipe part of my attack. So didn't really even need to worry about that, but it is definitely something that you want to think about, because you don't want to count on, you know, something like this going down. You know, my queen could have gotten targeted by something and she might have gone down, because I think it was the queen that ended up taking this out, although, you know, it might have been a wizard, I'm not sure. So let's go ahead and check out this attack. And again, we are taking on a maxed out base with, you know, a level 18 queen, level 17 king, and I've got level 10 heroes in this attack. So like I said, just a very powerful attack, and you can see how many troops we have left at the end. And let's go ahead and watch this attack. Let's see when I actually start attacking. This was actually a live attack that I recorded. You might have already seen this on the channel. And I always like to zoom in at the beginning to kind of make sure that my golem placement is right on. I just had an attack where I failed because the golem was literally 1 tile off from where it should have been. So you do kind of have to be careful about that kind of stuff. With this base, I don't think it mattered much. So yeah, we're starting off on the outside, you know, with those wizards, and then kind of going in, and then just kind of spamming everything else. Now, I will say that the king here was early, and that ends up costing me my king. So that was stupid. Don't do that. If you're doing a no lore, make sure that your skeletons or your golems are out in front and are drawing aggro from the CC troops before you release your king. Okay. Same thing with the P.E.K.K.A.s, because those P.E.K.K.A.s are, you know, defenseless against any air troops, and they are definitely, some of your highest value assets out on the field. So that king ends up getting out in front because of my mistake, and ends up going down very, very fast to the loons and to the dragon there. But again, you know, the nice thing about this attack is that it's very forgiving. That was a pretty big mistake. It could have cost me the raid if this was a Goho or a, you know, Laloon or something like that. But as you can see, I mean, the raid ends up going really well. So everything is in the core, and I go ahead and start dropping loons once I see those air defenses being targeted by my troops in the core. And you can see me just kind of spreading them out there. And you can see where I'm dropping this one on the cannon, but the air sweeper is already gone. And that's it. It's over. We've just taken out, you know, a max Town Hall 9 with decent level heroes in under, you know, 2 minutes. So again, very powerful attack. And it's a fun attack. You know, I really do enjoy these. Yes, I know how to Goho. That's most of what I do. You know, mainly using hogs. I hate air attacks. I can't stand air attacks. If I'm forced to use one, I'll use one, but they just feel very awkward to me. So, yeah, there you have it, guys. That's how you Gowipe like a pro. But of course, this is not a Gowipe. This is a logo wipe. But again, you know what, guys? If you know how to Gowipe, you know how to logo wipe, and that, you know, that opens up quite a few bases that you can now 3-star. And I will say this: on some bases, even if the air defenses are not cored, you can still manage to get all of them down with, you know, a push kind of the size of what I had in this attack here. You know, just a couple P.E.K.K.A.s, a couple witches, with enough room left over for 12 to 14 loons. Because, you know, let's say that you've got 4 air defenses that are, you know, placed right next to the core, but they are still outside maybe the box in the core. So like, for instance, if maybe, and again, I know that this wouldn't be possible, but like if you had an air defense, you know, here, and here, like you often see in quite a few bases where those air defenses are kind of in the intermediate layer. And of course, these walls would need to be 1 tile back for that to be possible. A Gola wipe would still be possible. I'm not going to say it would be the best attack at that point, but if you are not experienced with Goho, if you are not experienced with Laloon, then it might be the best attack for you. So you can also consider using Gola wipe, logo wipe, on bases where the air defenses aren't necessarily cored, but are at least close enough to the core to where maybe wizards or your queen has a chance at getting them. Now, another word on base selection, something that I probably should have mentioned at the beginning. If you suspect that there are going to be cored Teslas, do not bring a logo wipe. Your P.E.K.K.A.s are just going to get vaporized by those core Teslas, you know, especially if it's on a maxed Town Hall 9. If you suspect either from, I mean, if you know that there are core Teslas from a previous attack, or if you just see, you know, those spaces that, you know, around the Town Hall that's kind of indicative of core Teslas, then consider bringing something like a logo Gowipe. Or if you have max Valks, then of course a Go Valo. And guys, if you know how to Go Valo, then you also know how to logo wipe, of course. That kind of goes without saying. As a matter of fact, Go Valo is basically the same concept as logo wipe, but you are replacing those P.E.K.K.A.s with Valkyries. And I'm not sure, you know, I don't know how much more effective Go Valo is than logo wipe on a base like this. I think they'd pretty much just do the same thing. Although Valks have kind of wonky AI sometimes. I just saw a failed attack by Queen Cookie on One Hive's channel, and it was a great attack. You know, she had everything right, but the Valk AI just went totally wonky on her, and they ended up taking a walk, and the base, suffice it to say, was not 3-starred. So if you don't have level 4 Valks, there's nothing wrong with a good old-fashioned logo wipe. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something from it. And as always, this is Ryan with Cola Warrior Gaming, reminding you that we are Raiders, spells war.